Alrighty, folks, welcome back. It's been a long time since I've uploaded anything, but it has yet again come to a time where I briefly remember that I do, in fact, have a YouTube channel, and try again to resurrect it prior to some form of major Destiny content release, because I just keep coming back to this game. There's something about it, especially in the early days of a expansion release and day one raid situation, where it just feels so great to play, especially with a lot of buds around. This time I'm not really going to be reviewing any specific weapon or handling any particular topic within the game, but I did want to give my perspective and POV about the upcoming, current state of the games and what I've been doing PvP and gaming wise over the last long while since I uploaded a video. I will have some background gameplay of the new / returning palindrome for portions of this, but the voiceover has almost nothing to do with that background gameplay. It's largely just there so y'all aren't looking at a blank screen or just at my character screen. So first, let's take a look at the current state of Destiny. We have had one of my favorite expansions in Destiny, if not my favorite expansion, the Final Shape, released over a year ago in June of 2024, which is just insane that it's been that long. Following that, we had episodes, I guess is what they're calling them now, basically just rehashed seasons with a rebrand and some sort of self-contained story. I largely checked out from those and that type of content. They weren't engaging to me, and frankly somewhat boring to do. The activities just were boring, the weapons were boring. There wasn't really anything that really, pulled me in and made me want to spend hours and hours and hours of playing, on top of PvP just feeling like a disaster zone still. Echoes and Revenant especially were both lacking on the engagement for me and led to me dropping Destiny for a long while, especially because I have been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals, primarily as my other game here recently. Heresy, in contrast, which I just started doing about a month or two ago when I made the decision that I was in fact going to play Revenant, or Edge of Fate. I was in fact going to be picking up Edge of Fate and playing it with my day one crew, stuff I've been playing with for the last 4 or 5 years with day one raids. I found it to be very good. It was a great story, and I loved the Dreadnought location, especially because I've never played Destiny 1. So I found that story to be quite enjoyable, which is, kind of on par for Destiny, where the last season or last little bit of content before some sort of expansion is usually a little bit better than the stuff earlier in the year. So that leads us into Edge of Fate and beyond. Bungie, per usual, had some pretty great marketing, and the initial announcement of Edge of Fate had me pretty hyped. I know it's supposed to be a much smaller content release than normal, but it's still new content with a relatively fresh story beat, and most important for me, a new raid. It's hard to argue with the peak moments that Destiny content and Destiny contest raids bring, and I will almost always look to do them if I can, and if I'm able to find a team to do so. PvP wise, Destiny just feels stale, like super stale, especially compared to some of the other games that are out. The lower player population within Destiny, and still, to my experience, shaky connections, the lobby balancing, and just prevalence of ability. 66 in Destiny 2 feels borderline unenjoyable at times, especially coming back to the game from a third-person hero shooter like Marvel Rivals. With that said, I have actually enjoyed myself playing Destiny again, even more so with the friends who are coming back and other people as we start doing some of the prep work for the new content. I also found in PvP the expanded options for private matches that actually made community or group hosted lobbies super enjoyable. That'll include something like the physics labs hosted by Tony at Ill Physics Twitch and YouTube channel. His community is awesome. There's great PvP content and great PvP players there. So I was doing that quite a lot before my hiatus, and I've been watching some of their matches and stuff as I was starting to get back into things. So they have some great PvP private matches, and you can also earn a little bit of loot doing private matches now with some of the changes that Bungie made in the Final Shape. the fact that you can kind of change the ammo ability and spawning options within private matches is really awesome. And I also find the new system of armor and stats that we can start building into with Edge of Fate to be intriguing. And as of yet, I haven't been let down by the hard mode campaigns or the early expansion experience in a long time. So I do have a fair amount of optimism for the experience that Edge of Fate will bring in the near term. Finally, I wanted to touch on the future of content on my channel. At this point, as you guys can probably guess, I can't really promise anything in terms of creating content on Destiny or really any other game. I have a lot of professional and personal things coming up, some of which will result in extended travel away from my main gaming and editing PC. And gaming is low down on the priority list while doing those, much less doing content creation. If I am doing gaming, I'm probably playing with friends, and recording and getting, you know, weapon reviews or anything like that is going to be even further down that list. However, I might do a stream or two during the first week of content, and I might dip my toe into a video or two if I find a weapon that really resonates with me. I am intrigued with that 150 round per minute ARC exotic hand cannon that was teased by all those content creators a little while ago. So I might do a video on that, especially considering I really missed the 150 RPM hand cannon meta. That was just peak Destiny for me. That's really when I first started loving and liking hand cannons, in particular, you know, spare rations. This was my OG one, rapid hit slide shot. As you can tell, I have a lot of kills on it. Almost all those are prior to spare rations being turned into a 140 RPM hand cannon. You know, I might also do some PvE stuff, although I've never really been a PvE content creator. I have kind of wanted to do showcase my day one raid builds. Largely, I do copy other content creators on those types of builds. However, you know, showing what I'm going to be bringing in there, weapon and build wise, might be something that people would watch, and so it, you know, might help me better organize, at least for this day one experience. Would you all be interested in any of those PvE builds or thoughts? What about other games? Marvel Rivals in particular, while definitely slowing down in terms of some of the popularity that it used to have earlier in the year, is a ton from myself and my friend group, and I think about dropping some of my thoughts on it as well. Splitgate 2 is also something that my friend group has brought up as a potential, you know, something we can try out. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the semi-scripted rambling nature of this video. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see, and I hope you guys have a good one.
If they prevail, it won't be because you let them. Keep fighting. Zone A lost. The wolf's howl may be the last thing you hear. Could have gone better. The Iron Lords never stopped.